Hey everybody, RTX Sydney is this February 3rd and 4th. Get your tickets now.
Welcome to Master and Apprentice.
Today, we're going to be making the motion tracker from Alien Isolation.
This is Marcus Laporte. For the last 17 years, Marcus has been working in the film industry as a production designer, art director, and prop fabricator.
And this is Adam Ellis, a novice cosplayer and a systems administrator for Rooster Teeth, production company we work for.
We're going to show you what it takes to make professional level props from your favorite movies and video games.
And teach you the tricks that pros use that you can do at home.
This is Master and Apprentice.
Mr. Marcus, we love Alien.
Yeah.
So we're going to make an Alien Isolation motion tracker. This isn't from the movie itself, it's from Alien Isolation, but obviously this is used in the game to track xenomorph motion. So you kind of point it this way and the light will be on the edge of the screen, then as it gets closer you'll see a dot.
So our two big challenges here are going to be working clean. And this is obviously going to be difficult when you're in a dirty shop, and getting a nice clean object at the final finish is always a challenge. Number two is going to be knowing when to use off-the-shelf materials. You know, these are the kinds of things that can save you time and money. Is there the kind of thing that's already manufactured that looks just like the thing you need and is inexpensive? You totally want to use that.
So being that this has a bunch of knickknacks and paddywhacks, as it were, where do we break down this into bite-sized chunks?
So the first step here is to do a sketch. We're going to need some pens, some pencils, and a pad of paper for that. The next step is going to be assembly. We're going to be using a bandsaw, a sander, a laser cutter if you have one, and if you don't, we'll give you a way to get around it. We're going to be using some ABS project boxes, some styrene sheet plastic, plexiglass, some camera mount handles, a pair of old headphone cables, and a magnifying sheet. We're also going to need some super glue and some epoxies to glue all this stuff together. The next step is electronics. We're going to be using a soldering iron, some standard wiring, some solder, appropriate switches, and some LED light assemblies. The last step is going to be painting and weathering. We're going to need an airbrush if you have one, otherwise you can use some small paintbrushes. We're also going to be utilizing some off-the-shelf spray paints and some acrylic paints. Let's get these boxes sized and queued up and figure out how to put it all together. So we're going to be drawing all this stuff to scale and then cutting these out as templates just to ensure that all our parts go together nice and clean.
I don't know, any of this goes together. Oh, I see. Something like that.
It goes in there like that.
Cut out a strip of 5.
This goes on there like that. Anytime we can get something off the shelf or comes from the store that's already pre-manufactured, we want to take advantage of those things whenever we can. I think we have a pretty good idea of where we're pointed. So we're here, we have all our parts together, got some patterns made up. I think we can trace those on, cut those out on the bandsaw and the table saw. We're using the table saw here to cut the mechanical PVC sheets that we have, mainly because it has a guide and a rail. Every time we push this material through, it's going to come out nice and straight. Once those rough cuts are done, we're going to finish this up on the bandsaw. We can take off the corners and finish the finer details. This is a multiple axis sander. You can kind of come at it from different sides. You can use this wheel, you can use this wheel. This is the flat platen. This just kind of makes sure that if we want to do 90 degrees, it's done here. It's really important that you don't go into the corner. The corner is the most sensitive spot. So we want to float in from this side. Make sure to reference your Sharpie line. And whenever the Sharpie line casually disappears, that's when you can kind of take a second look at it and see how it goes. We are using these calipers to kind of help us center in on some of these holes that we're going to drill.
You just draw it in with the sharp part of the caliper?
You just scrape the caliper over the surface in the spot that you want to go.
So we're using the drill press with a Forstner bit to get a really nice clean cut.
Parts look really great, man. All these holes you drilled look really nice and clean.
Happy with everything.
Edges are nice and smooth. Everything's going to come together nice and crisp. Okay, so let's just build this. This kind of goes there.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. So these are threaded inserts. These threaded inserts are going to allow us to screw to things that normally wouldn't have threads. So we drill a hole that's as large as the outside diameter of these, and the inside diameter has threads that are built in. We found some screws that fit our threads. It's a little too long by maybe, I don't know, an inch or so. So we're going to take this into the vise, and we're going to use a metal cutoff wheel in order to make this the size we want it.
So we're using one of Marcus's favorite little tools in the shop, which is a playing card. These are great because they're cheap, disposable, and they make great palettes.
So we're using a two-part epoxy here called Plexus to get the bigger pieces set, and then we're going to be using some standard super glue and some super glue accelerator just because we don't like to wait for it to dry.
We're right there, dude.
Looks great.
I need to go make the buttons, the knobs.
Yeah, let's get that on a board, glue it down, pour some silicone on it, and you can cast up some plastic versions.
Got it. So the button is a nut and a washer, and we took a googly eye and flipped it over, glued it in, now it's a button. Getting my mold ready, I'm just using a Dixie cup cut in half.
Yeah, Adam's doing pretty good. We've practiced a couple times in the past. It's nice to have help.
So I'm just finishing gluing up my mold here. Once I'm done putting this hot glue on.
I need a Q-tip. Sorry.
Putting this hot glue on, I'll be ready to mix and pour some silicone.
This is a 2-part silicone, and it calls for equal parts of each.
So that one's sitting at 50. Exactly 50 and 50. Feel good about that. I'm putting in the smallest amount of dye, or pigment dye, so I can tell when they're mixed. If I have white streaks in my red, I'll know that it's not done.
On the table saw, I have set the blade to a very, very low depth. So what it's done is it's scored my box as opposed to cutting through. It's left me some really nice sort of machined lines. Looks pretty good.
Perfect.
If you don't have an expensive laser cutter at home, there are a couple ways that you can get around this. The best of which, I think, is going to be to print this image on clear transparency film.
I've poured plastic for our first casting of the button. Hopefully it goes well and I'll feel very good about myself.
So for these pieces, they could be cut at home on a scroll saw. And as far as the lettering, they could easily be stickers.
This is one of my buttons. It came out great.
I am playing with some PVC pipe P-traps and J-traps. I'm gonna use some pieces to make this little sort of, I don't know, what is this? Do you know what this is?
I think that's where the information is fed in, like the actual motion track information.
Awesome, we're getting really close. That's gonna go there, that's gonna go there.
So I got some of this red gel, glued it to the back of our laser cut screen piece for like the outer lights. I think the red is pretty cool on there.
So the best way to deal with these wires is to use a soldering iron with a heat control dial. We're using some shrink wrap tubing here just to make sure our wires are insulated. ABS electronics boxes are sort of pre-sized, so you can hide all your batteries, all your wires, all your electronics in here. These LED strips run to a battery, but we're gonna place this nice analog switch in line to make sure that we can turn it on and off. We're using this reflective tape here. It's mainly just to bounce the light around in the box. And we're gonna mimic a scan line effect from a magnifying sheet here that we can put over it. That should give us a little bit of help.
Oh my God, that looks amazing.
Do you want to try it with a light? It's pretty badass. All right, shall we?
Let me take a stab at this. We'll tackle it at the same time. What do you want to do?
I think I'm gonna let you go, but the idea is that you need to focus in all the little nooks and crannies that you can't get to very easily first. And once you feel like you've got paint in all the little weird spots, then you can come back and go full coverage on everything else.
Okay.
We're using a standard camouflage paint. This is the camo green, right off the shelf. Super easy. It's a really super ultra flat paint, and everything's gonna layer in really nicely, yeah.
Yeah, it also like just goes on easy, like you don't have...
It coats really well.
Yeah.
We worked really nice and clean this whole time.
Yeah, seeing that come through now that it's all one flat color, man, I think that...
That's pretty much done.
Are we coated?
Yeah, looks pretty good. I think we can wait 5, 10, then we can come back. What do you think? You like it?
It looks so good.
Yeah, it looks pretty great.
It looks so clean.
I'm just doing a really light touch here. I'm not doing a whole lot. If we don't put this step, it's not gonna feel finished.
Hot dog, Marcus.
I like this thing.
We use that magnifying screen to get the CRT effect without actually having to use a screen.
You get any kind of angle on that screen, and it starts to refract and sort of do funny things.
We were able to run wires through this thing. We have lights in 2 places, running from one source. Our switch works amazing.
Yeah.
And it sounds really cool. Tried my hand at working cleanly, and I thought I did pretty good, man.
Yeah, you did really good.
And everything else we worked on came together clean, too.
Yeah, this looks more realistic than any of the actual stuff from the game or any of the models or drawings that we saw. Let's go try this thing out.
Let's go ahead and get out of here.
Yeah, let's go search for some aliens.
All right. What's that?
Thanks for watching Master and Apprentice.
If you guys are making any alien motion trackers, please show us. And if there's anything else you want us to make, please let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time.